Welcome back to the Fantasy Bros YouTube channel. Zach, Joe, and Max here. We work really hard to bring you guys the best fantasy content, so please drop a like, comment down below, share with your friends. Let's hop right into it with the weekly rundown. First game, Cardinals Seahawks. I expected the Seahawks to win this game, a revenge game, and they did just that. Russell Wilson didn't look particularly good. He did take 3 sacks. Carlos Hyde, in the absence of Chris Carson, played really good, 14 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett saw the most targets by a long shot, 9 targets. He had 67 yards and a touchdown. DK Metcalf only had 3 catches that game.
It's pretty reminiscent of the other game, just not...
He
not on the same level, but
he had a touchdown. He dropped another touchdown.
He did.
He had a couple of drops that game. He did not look great. Pat Pete did a nice job, even though he's aging. Kyler Murray, he did hurt his shoulder a bit. We're going to see going forward how that affects him. We did see him slow down in this one. He only threw 2 touchdowns, 270 yards. He didn't really rush a lot. He only rushed for 15 yards, which is a shocker. Kenyon Drake,
he sucks still, but
didn't do anything.
Chase Edmonds, six total touches, and he got a touchdown, but
yeah, Chase is still involved.
He's involved, but six touches is concerning. I don't know if I'd start him. Maybe as a deep flex option.
And Fitzgerald led the team in receptions at 8 receptions for 60 yards and targets. And Hopkins took a step back here, 5 receptions for 51 yards. Next game, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Cleveland Browns. Another, pardon my French, I'm not even going to say it on YouTube, but it was absolutely atrocious. The Philadelphia Eagles do not look good at all. Wentz threw 2 INTs. I had the Cleveland Browns this week as a streamer defense. They looked really good to put up 20 points. Miles Sanders, 66 yards on 16 attempts. It was a rainy day, so they had to stick to the ground game. He didn't really do much.
Yeah, Carson Wentz just makes him worse.
Yeah, Carson Wentz kills his value. He's a great back, but in that Eagles offense, he doesn't look great.
Goddard looked good. With Ertz coming back, I don't know how involved he's going to stay.
But with tight ends, once again, being sucky, I like him going forward. 77 yards and a touch. Rager
looks like the wide receiver 1, but
the
wide receiver 1 doesn't mean anything.
There's no wide receivers you want to own. There's no receivers you want to own on that team.
You might want to keep him, but no one else besides him is keepable.
And Baker, another unproductive day, but again, he didn't need to be productive to win this one. 200 yards, 0 touchdowns. Chubb,
he hasn't been needed to be productive in the 7 wins that they've had.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Their record is much better than what they are. Nick Chubb, though, is a beast running back. We all know that. 114 yards on 20 carries. He gets his touchdowns get snagged by Kareem Hunt.
He doesn't get any goal line carries,
which is very annoying.
Hunt missed 3 straight goal line carry touchdowns, and he still continued to get the goal line.
That's a receiving offense you don't want to be a part of. What do you guys think? Any comments there?
Jarvis had 2 targets.
Yeah, it's not looking good there.
Don't start him.
Next game, Falcons, Saints, the Taysom Hill show. Everyone going into this game streamed him in the ESPN leagues. If you had him at tight end position, he looked really good here. 233 yards passing. He didn't throw 1 INT. Didn't throw a touchdown either, but didn't need to because he had 2 on the ground.
Great RB1 numbers.
Insane game for him. Latavius Murray had almost as many carries as Kamara here and more yards than him, but Kamara did get the touchdown. Michael Thomas benefited the most from Taysom Hill's presence. He got 9 receptions, 104 yards.
He likes him a lot.
I like him going forward. Thank God if you're a Michael Thomas owner, you're relieved here. Kamara, though.
Most notable stat, 1 target, 0 receptions. It's his first game. He had 1 target, 0 receptions. His first ever game without a reception.
If you're a Kamara owner, you may be a little bit worried, and you're hoping that Drew Brees gets a fast recovery. On the ground game in Atlanta, Gurley had 8 attempts for his 26 yards, absolutely shut down by New Orleans, and they just had to stick
touchdown dependent. That's how
to the passing game in this one because they were so down. Calvin Ridley had 5 receptions, 90 yards, and Russell Gage had a decent game, 58 yards on 7 receptions, and Julio
might be injured,
and so Ridley and Gage
great hit.
are good starts going forward.
He becomes much more
prayers
valuable.
up to Julio and all the owners. Next game, Cincinnati, Washington football team.
Sucks.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, that injury was really, really depressing.
Rookie of the year potential. And
he looked really good, and hopefully he returns healthier than ever and better than ever.
Ryan Finley doesn't even have a passer rating. That's how bad he was.
Yeah, Ryan Finley has 0.0 passer rating. He threw an INT 30 yards. Giovanni Bernard didn't do anything. He only had 9 carries, and he had 18 yards. No touchdowns.
That backfield is weird.
Yeah, it's a bad backfield. Tyler Boyd had 9 receptions, 85 yards, but the thing is,
that was before he got injured.
That's before Joe Burrow got injured. And so now going forward, if Ryan Finley or the guy they called up from the practice squad, Is Q.
Gotta wait and see.
Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Gio take a massive hit.
Bench till you see anything out of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gibson ran all over the place.
Gibson has been great recently. Antonio, he ran for 16 attempts, 94 yards, and a touchdown on the ground, almost 100 yards. Alex Smith didn't look great, but he didn't really need to be.
McKissick only caught 3 balls on 4 targets.
Yeah,
so.
McKissick didn't look great here, but still going forward, he is startable. Terry McLaurin, obviously, 55 receptions for 84 yards. He's a top 3 in receiving yards this season. He looks really great going forward. He's definitely in the top 10. Detroit versus Carolina.
Another garbage game.
Another terrible game. Detroit Lions, 0 points. They're definitely feeling the absence of DeAndre Swift, Kenny Galladay, and Amendola. Stafford didn't do anything. 178 yards, 0 touchdowns. Peterson, nothing. If you all started him, I feel bad. And then the only notable receiver here, T.J. Hockenson, a tight end, 68 yards on 4 receptions. He does benefit the most in Gallaude's absence. P.J. Walker threw 2 picks, but he didn't really matter.
First half, he looked good.
He looked good. He looked decent. Yeah. And especially for fantasy purposes, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Robbie Anderson all benefited from it. But
9, DJ 10, Moore, 11 targets.
DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel benefited the most. DJ getting 127 yards receiving, and Curtis Samuel getting a touchdown with 70 yards. DJ Moore, best thing to happen to him is PJ Walker.
Mike Davis still not the answer. He played pretty well.
Touchdown, but that's
played pretty well, 19 for 64. But
he's definitely no McCaffrey.
As long as the Panthers win this week, if he's out next week and they still win, they're 5-7 and they have a playoff chance. So McCaffrey will definitely come back after their bye week.
And if Teddy Bridgewater is out another game, you can still start all Panthers receivers, but I think he returns. Next game, Steelers versus Jaguars. 4 picks for Jake Luton. The Pittsburgh defense is legit, and we knew that coming into this game.
Yeah, they've been playing against all top 5 teams the entire year, no?
Yeah, they've been
I don't care. They've been amazing. Big Ben threw 2 picks, 267 yards. James Conner was productive with the carries. Didn't get a touchdown, though, 89 yards. Deontay Johnson had 16 targets. That's double the amount of the next best in Claypool at 8. 12. He caught 12 of them and 111 yards. Claypool had a touchdown. Ebron had a touchdown. Juju got injured, so we're still awaiting the results on his MRI if he got an MRI. But
Claypool leading the league with touchdowns. That's crazy.
Yeah, 10 touchdowns through 10 games, unbelievable. Juju, if he's out, Deontay and Chase get a huge boost, and Ebron as well. And now with James Robinson, he looks pretty matchup proof. He had 73 yards with 17 rushes, but again,
touchdown dependent.
He's touchdown dependent.
He doesn't get so many receptions.
And his schedule is looking bleak.
He's a safe floor, it's just not high.
And Chark is definitely not matchup proof.
In a league where running backs are desperate, you're desperate at running back. Everyone is. You got to start James Robinson no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Next game, Tennessee versus Baltimore.
Derrick Henry, even against a great defense.
Now, one lesson I learned in this game, Derrick Henry, if you feed this man, you will win games. He had 28 rushing attempts, 133 yards, and a touchdown.
He looked slow the first half. He
only had 36 yards, I think.
Wasn't getting anywhere.
And then he just took over in the second half. Corey Davis had 100-plus receiving yards. A.J. Brown had that crazy touchdown.
Crazy.
He was like stopping at the 10-yard line.
Can't tackle him.
Like 4 guys tried to tackle him. He couldn't bring him down. Unbelievable.
Still, for fantasy purposes, he tied Davis in targets.
He's boom or bust, honestly.
And Henry getting the workload he does, it takes away from the passing game. So
yeah, especially later in the season when the schedule clears up. J.K. Dobbins looked phenomenal here. 70 yards on 15 attempts and a touchdown. But he is
tested positive for
COVID. He is on the COVID list.
Along with Mark Ingram. So Gus Edwards might be streamable next week.
Is startable.
They play the Steelers, so it's tough, but
again, in a week
I have a feeling Lamar might need to take over on the running game, so he might have a good week.
Aside from that, J.K. Dobbins is definitely worth a pickup in waivers.
Mark Andrews is where it's at on that offense in the receiving game. He's the only good receiver on the team right now.
The only guy you want to be a part of in that offense is Mark Andrews.
Marquise Brown had 0 receptions on 3 targets. Yeah. Des Bryant looked better than him.
Yeah, Marquise is a huge letdown this season, but Mark Andrews, 96 yards and a touchdown.
Des Bryant, 4 receptions for 28 yards. He had more points than Jacoby Myers.
Might be worth a pickup.
Hey, I don't know.
Next game, Patriots and Texans. You got Cam Newton throwing for over 350 yards and a touchdown.
Most of them going to Damiere Byrd.
And Damiere Byrd, who I had as a sleeper, looked unreal. 130-plus yards, a touchdown. Myers was
how long was the touchdown? Was it like a 60-yarder?
It was long.
I think it was a 40.
It was a 42-yard. 42-yarder. Myers, who I had starting in a lot of formats for people who asked, did not do well at all.
Dante Moncrief is on the Patriots. I had no idea.
Yeah, but going forward, Jacoby Myers, I still like him. Harris had a touchdown on the ground, and now that Rex Burkhead's injured, I like Harris going forward, and James White as well.
James White is McKissick. He's equivalent to McKissick, I think. 9 targets, 6 receptions, 64 yards. Maybe better.
And but Sony Michel is returning, so we'll see what happens.
He takes away from Harris. I don't think he takes away from White.
I like him going forward because they're going to try to make a playoff run. They're only 2 games out of the playoffs, so they're going to try. Yeah,
who would have guessed that they would be behind the Dolphins and the Dolphins? Unbelievable.
Well, the Dolphins don't look too good.
We'll get to that. Deshaun Watson looks phenomenal here. Best QB on the day. 340 plus passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 36 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown. Duke Johnson did nothing. He had average 1.5 per attempt. Terrible. Brandon Cooks looked good here. He had 85 yards.
Should have had a touchdown called back.
Yeah, that's annoying for fantasy owners. Jordan Atkins, 83 yards, and Will Fuller, 80 yards.
How's Randall Cobb looking? I heard he got
injured, but still, though, for Cooks and Fuller, they're not getting a ton of receptions, and so
they're still getting
they get
the
a
big
bunch
plays,
of targets.
Right, and so they rely on that week in and week out. So hopefully they could.
Jordan Akins, he might be a streamable tight end. 6 targets, 5 receptions, 83 yards. It looks like Watson likes him a lot.
If you're desperate at tight end,
Fells is dropping off.
Next game, Dolphins Broncos, and now we saw Tua get benched. I think some people are saying he was injured,
high ankle sprain potentially.
But some are saying that they wanted to avoid. They're saying he was benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick did not look good. He threw a game-losing INT. Salvan Ahmed.
He looked good with the receptions.
He averaged 33.6 on the ground, so not look good there. But on the reception side of the field, he had 5 receptions, so that's great for PPR purposes. Devontae Parker had a great game, 61 yards and a touchdown, 6 receptions. He's the only receiver you want on that offense.
If Gaskin continues to be out, for sure, Ahmed, they're playing the Jets next week, which is a.
But if Gaskin returns, he's startable in every single league. Because I don't think Salvan is that
running back.
Is that great? Drew Lock looked bad here. Melvin Gordon looked great here, 84 yards on 15 attempts and 2 touchdowns. Philip Lindsay had the same amount pretty much, but he just didn't get the touchdowns.
He had more carries, which is
one more carry, 2 less yards. Patrick, one of my waiver pickups this week. He looked really, really good. 5 receptions, 119 yards. Again, probably the only. Again, Jerry Jeudy did not look great.
He had 8 targets.
He's been slowing down.
He's getting targets, but not getting catches.
It's too small.
I think Tim Patrick's wide receiver 1 going forward. Judy's a close second. Next game, Jets Chargers.
How did the Jets score 28 points off of you?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's crazy.
But Frank Gore, turning back time, averaging 4.1 on the ground, 61 yards rushing and a touchdown, not bad. Denzel Mims, the rookie, 71 yards receiving, but only 3 catches.
Nothing much to talk about here.
Crowder, really nothing there. Brashad Perriman had a touchdown, but whatever. Justin Herbert, phenomenal game. 3 touchdowns, over 300 plus passing yards, 16 attempts on the ground for Balazs, 44 yards rushing. But Keenan Allen is the big talk of the town. 16 receptions on 19 targets. That's tied for his best against. He did the same thing against Jacksonville, I believe, earlier in the season. He caught 16 of them, 145 yards and a touchdown. The Keenan Herbert duo
might be the fantasy MVP this season.
The Keenan Herbert duo is one of the best in the league.
Steal the draft.
Unbelievable. And Herbert looking like the best waiver pickup of the season, right ahead of James Robinson. Next game we have Green Bay.
We're going to have to see with Swift.
Green Bay, Indianapolis Colts.
Fun game to watch.
Most people drafted Swift. Green Bay, Indianapolis Colts.
Ended up being on the waivers.
This was a wild game here. Most people expected Green Bay to win. I was one of them. Rodgers threw 3 TDs, 300 plus yards, and threw a pick, a costly interception. Aaron Jones did not look great here.
The interception wasn't costly. The fumble at the end was costly.
The fumble, right. 44 yards on 10 attempts for Jones. Touchdown. They didn't really stick to the run game. It was more pass-heavy. Devontae Adams is matchup-proof. 7 receptions, 100 plus yards.
He only got 8 targets, but he works with them every single game.
He's the overall wide receiver 1 in fantasy.
Scantling sucks.
Scantling, I had him as a sell high. But
he's not getting targeted anymore.
Yeah, and Tanyan is good at tight ends own, honestly, going forward. But Allen Lazard is another waiver pickup.
Did I say Equinemius St. Brown is going to have the game of his life? 23 yards on a reception.
1 catch, no way.
That's his best game of the season.
Allen Lazard is a waiver pickup. He only had 2 catches for 18 yards, but going forward, I like him in this offense.
Definitely with Marquez losing trust.
Yeah, and Phillip Rivers. He looked pretty decent here. 13 touchdowns, under 300 yards. And then Jonathan Taylor, the surprise guy to break out in this offense. Everyone thought going into this game, Nyheim Hines would be the workhorse.
Hey, I like him to break out.
But Jonathan Taylor
You gotta feed
was
him.
given the keys, and he took advantage.
You gotta feed
90
him.
yards,
It's one game.
4.1 attempts, and again, it's RBBC, so going forward, we still can't.
You can't trust him.
Don't start him, but I like him. I like him in the future.
I like him the best out of the three.
I like him
running
in the future for sure. He has the size and he has the capabilities.
And in terms of the receiving, he
got his first touchdown.
He spread the ball out to literally everyone. I mean, everyone had a catch in this offense. Pittman only had 3 catches, but he was very productive with them. 66 yards and a touchdown.
45-yard touchdown, which was
accumulated most of his fantasy points. But that's why he's a risky start. But this game was pretty wild. Great stuff for the Colts. We'd love to see it. Next game, Cowboys, Vikings, the return of Andy Dalton, and much needed in that because he was able to get them the W. He threw 3 touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott had over 100 yards rushing finally
for the
on
first
the
time
ground.
this season.
Crazy. And Amari Cooper, the prime benefactor in the receiving game,
Oh, wow.
81 yards on 6 receptions, and CeeDee Lamb with that crazy catch in the end
crazy.
zone. That was a phenomenal adjustment.
Still only six targets and 7 targets, but
Cooper
I like Cooper
is the
number
one- is the
one.
one in the
but
receiving
CeeDee Lamb
offense.
could be startable.
Yeah, for sure.
In flex.
Other side of the field, you have Kirk having also having a great game, 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. Cook,
Don't
over
really
100
need to
yards.
talk about him.
Yeah, we know
We
who
knew
he
he
is.
every game.
He's a beast. Adam Thielen, though, unbelievable game.
I was off on him.
I had him on sell high, but I also said to wait after this game to sell high on him. He had 8 receptions, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
What do you do with him now? I don't know.
He's on the COVID list right now.
Including a phenomenal one-handed catch, but now I think he's on the COVID list. But is he positive, or did they test him?
He's just on the COVID list.
He's
I
on the
think
COVID
it's
list.
just. I think he's supposed to play, but
Hopefully he plays because I'm playing.
I don't know. Do you sell high on him right now?
I think you do.
I'm still
like him.
nervous
I
on
keep
him.
him.
His
I don't know
schedule
his
is
schedule,
very
but
tough. It's a very tough schedule.
I'm
I believe he
nervous.
plays Tampa and Chicago.
They have to win every game, so they're gonna be playing as hard as
You
they can.
gotta
could get a lot
realize
from
they
him.
played against the Cowboys and
You can get a
and
ton from
their
him.
Poor
It's-
secondary. I would trade him away.
You get a lot from him. Justin Jefferson only had 3
The trade
catches.
deadline hasn't passed yet.
Justin Jefferson only had 3 catches, 86 yards and a touchdown, though. Going forward, I love him. Dalvin Cook was really, really productive in the passing game, 45 yards receiving, but we know who Dalvin Cook is and how well he plays. He is the running back 3 for me going forward, but we'll get into that later. Kansas City, Las Vegas, last night's game. Patrick Mahomes just did Patrick Mahomes things. Looked like the MVP on the season. 348 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but that didn't really hurt them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, when you give Helaire the ball on the ground and when you give him the keys to the backfield, he looks great. 69 yards, 4.9 average, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Le'Veon had 1. Hopefully they make Clyde the established workhorse. Travis Kelce, the overall tight end, other than Taysom Hill, he played insane. 8 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown. You love him going forward. He's undisputed number 1 tight end. And Tyreek Hill, 11 receptions, 100+ yards,
eat my words every
and
week.
a touchdown. He's unbelievable. The best player best player. Look, when you have Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball, and you have that speed, you're bound to put up numbers, and he's doing just that. On the other side of the field, you want to say something?
No. Derek Carr, if his defense was able to hold up at the end of the game, Derek Carr is definitely in the race for MVP.
Derek Carr looked really good
Just
here.
with a 6-4 record, he looked great against a very good Chiefs defense.
3 touchdowns, 275 yards. Jacobs had 55 yards on the ground.
He should have had 2 more touchdowns. They just didn't feed it to him.
Yeah, he had a touchdown though at least, but yeah, you're disappointed if you are an owner. Aguilar had a nice game actually, 6 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown, 9 targets. He did drop a couple, but he's known for dropping. Darren Waller, what can you say about Darren?
Guy lost me my week.
He's the 2nd best tight end in the league behind Kelce, 7 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that, nothing really happened. And so now we just wait for
Tonight's game.
Tampa versus LA, and there's very, very fantasy implications in this game. A lot of fantasy implications. Hopefully, you win your matchup, and make sure to like, subscribe,
and let us know what you need tonight to win your fantasy matchup.
Let us know what you need tonight, and going forward, what you want to see. We are here to help you. We are here to get you guys what you want. Until next video, we'll see you then.